What's up guys, it's CodeRed here and welcome to episode 2 of the 1.16 Advanced Spigot Coding series. This episode I have a really cool custom mob to show you guys. It's going to deal with all different kinds of mobs, so it doesn't matter what mob we use, it's going to become our pet. So that's what we're going to do again. This is like part 2 of our custom pet plugin. I am going to be using the same Pathfinder goal from my last custom pet plugin tutorial, so if you want to go ahead and check that out, there should be a little thing you can click right above. But if you don't want to, I put the code for it in the description below, so there you go, got some free code you can go ahead and copy, because there is a bigger goal in this video that I'm going to show you guys. I don't really care if you copy the Pathfinder goal, or if you want to go watch the video, go ahead and do that. But before I go ahead and explain what I mean by this, let's go and show you guys the actual plugin. So if we spawn a mob, doesn't matter what mob we spawn. We can spawn a cow, a creeper, pig, sheep, a slime, and a shulker box. So whatever we spawn, if we kill it, it'll become our ally. It actually becomes our friend and our pet, and it'll follow us around. And we can have unlimited amount of pets. Of course, you guys can change this if you want. I haven't actually killed one of these before to see if it works. So it works. There we go. So doesn't matter what we kill, they'll become our ally. If I kill a slime, it becomes our ally. It's kind of weird. And there we go. So like I said, we can have a million allies, doesn't matter what we have. And if we want to delete, just right click on them and I'll delete our allies. Now, we already go further in this, where I'm actually going to make a part 3 where, our allies are going to, kill enemies around us. That'll be pretty cool. But the reason for this episode is because I want to show you guys how the heck did I make every single mob my friend. And no, I did not make 50 different classes of custom mobs. I made one custom mob class and have all the different types just become it. So typically when you create a custom mob, you're extending some entity. Last time we did like a husk zombie, whatever. So say we want to create a custom zombie, we extend this class called Entity Zombie, and then we, modify that zombie. Same thing for a sheep. If we want to make a custom sheep, we extend the class called Entity Sheep, and then we make a custom sheep. Now, if you go to any custom mob tutorial, this is how they show you how to do it. And I do agree. When you want to create a custom mob, I think you should extend the mob that you want to make custom. However, what if you want to make a mob that you don't care what type it is, you don't care about its Pathfinder goals, because it's going to do something that no other mob does? Like a pet plugin. When I kill a pet, or if I have a GUI where I select what pet, I don't care if that zombie's Pathfinder goals. I don't care about any of the Pathfinder goals for that entity, because I'm going to create my own Pathfinder goals. Also with 1.16, the new mobs, piglins and especially, their AI is super annoying, and the past ways to remove the Pathfinder goals don't work. So I do recommend this for 1.16 mobs. However, put a disclaimer on this: if you are wanting to create a custom iron golem and use the iron golem, a custom gas and use the specific things that that class offers, go ahead and do that. I completely recommend, if you want to create a custom zombie, extend the Entity Zombie class. Alright, moving on. So what class are we going to extend? So the Entity Zombie class, that class inherits the Entity Monster. So if we want to create a custom monster with any type of monster, we can go ahead and extend this class. That will go ahead and make it so we can have any type of entity that extends this Entity Monster. Entity Monster has a million of has, zombie, slime, creeper, whatever. But the thing is, for peaceful mobs, they extend the Entity Animal class. However, both Entity Animal and Entity Monster extend the Entity Creature class. And this is where this video takes place. We will be extending this class right here to do our code. If y'all want to know what happens next, is the creature then gets it from the insentient. Insentient then gets it from the entity living, and then at the top of the food chain we have our entity class. These are all represent of classes and their childs and parents. So our main class entity, entity living, and then insentient creature, and then it goes off into these different branches. Alright, so enough talking about blocks in Minecraft, let's get into the actual code. So, start off, I went ahead and created the project already. This project is called Custom Pet. You can go ahead and name it whatever you want. Just make sure you have the basic stuff done that we need to have done, like our extending Java plugin and our on enable and on disable. Like I said, I will provide the code in the description below, but this is our custom Pathfinder goal for our pet that I actually have a video on. If you want to learn like really how this works, go ahead and check out that video. I did put a bunch of comments in here though, that should explain it pretty well. But without further ado, go ahead, let's create a new package if you haven't already. So we have this stuff organized. I named my package models. Let's right click on that and create a new class. This class I am going to call our custom creature class. All right, custom creature. Like I said earlier, we're going to extend our entity creature. We're not extending a mob because we don't know what mob it's going to be, so we're extending our entity creature. First thing first, we need to create our constructor, and our constructor is going to be a public custom creature. And let's have the entity types, and usually we say, hey, entity type of zombie, whatever we extend, but we don't know what it is, so we're saying question mark extends entity creature. Next, let me zoom in. A lot of code coming. After we do that, let's name it, and we're gonna name it. We can name it type, and then we need to pass in a location. Loc. Go ahead and import everything, and do take note that this is a 1.16 plugin, and it'll only work in 1.16.2. If you want to make it work in other versions, go ahead and check out my other video. There should be a little thing you can click above right now. It'll also be in the description below to learn about how to make multiple NMS versions work all together. Alright, so once we have our constructor, let's go ahead and set the things that we need to set, and that's our super. We need to super our type as well as our location. So we need to do craft worlds loc.getWorld. Get out of all that. .get handle. Go ahead and import that, and then type in this .set. This .set position, and we're gonna set the position to loc.getX, loc.getY, and finally loc.getZ. Alright, so what we just did there was all basic stuff that we've been doing a lot in our custom mob videos. I have like 4, I think, already out. So we've been doing this before. It's really similar to what we have. Usually we're just extending our entity creature class because we don't know what type it is. The other thing we want to put in here is this .set invulnerable to true, because we don't want it to die unless we make it die. Alright, next up, let's do our Pathfinder goals. So what's really nice about this is if I go ahead and I spawn it in, say I'm done coding and I spawn in our entity right now, it will do nothing. It will just sit there and do nothing. And that is wonderful because it does not have any Pathfinder goals, which is great. We don't have to clear anything. We just need to set some. So let's go ahead and set some. And let's make this a protected void initialize Pathfinder. And the first goal I want to set is this .goal selector. .a, our priority of 0, which is our most important one. Pathfinder goal float this. That just makes it so they float in water. I make sure you always set that one. That's a pretty important one. Almost every single mob has that. Next up, let's set our this .goal selector dot A, and let's make this priority of, let's do 2. New Pathfinder goal. Look at player. This entity dot human. Sorry, entity human dot class. Go ahead and import that. And I think we're missing something. Oh yeah, 8.0.f was just like the speed that they look at you. All right, another goal selector dot A. Let's make this one. We'll make it 3, and this one's pretty simple. It's just a new Pathfinder goal random look around, and then just pass in this. So if you don't know what's going on right now, if you've never done Pathfinder Goals before, I recommend going and checking out my other videos. It definitely will help you understand what the hell is being coded right now. Basically, we're just making it so our entity can do stuff. So right now it can swim, it looks at players, and it does a random stroll. Eventually, if you want it to do a random stroll, it's not that big of a deal. But we will set our most important goal, which is our pet. This 1.0 and 25. All right, now if you type this in just now and you get a red underline, that means you did not import our class, our Pathfinder goal pet, because this is a custom class, like I said, that will be in the description below. So go ahead and copy that and put it in the project, or if you want, go ahead and check out that video and learn how it works. All right, and just like that, our Pathfinder goals are set and they are done. Really easy stuff. We don't have to remove any. We don't have to modify existing AI. We can just go ahead and set that real quick. Next, I want to do public void set owner. Player. This just sets our owner. So we're saying, hey, who is the person who killed the entity and is the owner. And for this, I want to say set goal target. The target will have a cast of our entity living. And then another open parentheses, and then another cast of our craft player. Get out of there. Get handle. And then our target reason. Custom. And then finally false. So let's talk about this real quick. Basically, all I'm doing is getting a player. I'm getting the NMS version of the player or craft player, and then I'm just converting it into an entity living. I'm able to do this because of what I showed you earlier. The entity living is right under our entity class. So entity living has our entity creature, it has entity player, whatever. It has all these classes under it, so we're able to cast it to it, which is really nice. And I also want to say that make sure you have false. In my past video, I had true, which was a mistake. Make sure you have false, because then I'm pretty sure every single mob works when you do false. When you do true, sheeps don't work for some reason. I don't know. Make sure you have false. All right, 2 more methods, and then we're done. Set item, enum item slot. So this is just an optional feature for you guys if you want to, set items to your pets. It's pretty nice. Set slot, craft. Item stack as NMS item. So like I said, there's just a custom way. Did I import the wrong one? Imports. Make sure you're importing this bucket inventory one. Item. Right. So we're able to call that method later on to give our entity some armor or whatever. But obviously make sure that you're not giving sheep armor, because I'm pretty sure that would probably cause some errors. Public void set name. This is a very important one. String name. This dot set custom name to a new chat component. Text. And then we're going to say in here chat color dot translate alternate color codes. We're going to translate our and symbol and then, you know, name. Go ahead and import chat component. Then we need to set this.set custom name to true. And I'm not really going over a lot of this stuff. That's because I have, you know, 5 videos that already went over all this stuff. But basically, this is how you set a custom name to your entity, and we have to make sure we set it to true so it actually shows up. And just like that, our custom creature class is done. Like I said, it's super easy. It doesn't really do much, just follows us. And we don't need to, you know, get rid of anything that a normal class would have, like .a and .b and all those other methods. So, let's spawn our creature in. So with our entity creature class done, we can go ahead and create a new class. I'm going to create a new package actually. So I'm going to create a new package, call this listener package. Listeners. And I'm going to throw in an, I don't know, pet event. We'll call it the pet event because we just have multiple different events in here. First thing we want to do at the top is implements listener. And we're going to have 2 different events in here. We're going to have the on death event for our entity. So whenever it dies, we want to spawn it in. So a public void on entity death event. All right. So here it gets a little bit complicated. And we kind of have to assume some things, and I'm hold on one second. All right, so we are gonna have a suppressing warning about to happen, but don't worry too bad. So first thing first, we need to know what our entity is. So we need to convert our entity to an NMS entity, and then we have to actually make sure it extends our entity creature class. So what we need to type in here is entity types question mark extends entity creature. So we want to make sure our entity types extends our creature. We're going to name this one type, and we're going to set it equal, and I'm going to move down a line because it's a little longer code. Entity, so we're going to cast an entity types that, once again, the question mark just means whatever the type is, extends the entity creature class, and then move down the line another one because we're doing another cast of our craft entity, and then inside that parentheses event dot get entity, and then go out of all of them and do dot get handle, and then dot get entity type. Maybe I should move it down a line. Or I'll just zoom out. That'll be easier. Alright, go ahead and import all that. Oof! Oh, it's a lot of code right there. And we are, like I said, we're gonna get this little error because we haven't checked if, you know, our entity does extend entity creature. If you wanted to, you can go ahead and write a little bit of code to make sure our entity type does extend our entity creature. That's up to you guys. All the entities that are probably be dying in this death event will extend the entity creature. If it doesn't, then if it doesn't and I'm making a mistake here, you can just go ahead and surround this with a try and catch if you want to. If it catches an error, just return, whatever. Up to you guys to check it or not. I'm not going to check it because I'm confident enough to know that every single creature, every single entity does extend the entity creature. I'm probably wrong though, so don't quote me on that one. All right, next up, let's go ahead and get our player. So player, and we'll call it owner, equals event dot get entity dot get killer. All right. So we have the type of our entity. So whatever entity dies, a slime dies, a sheep dies, a cow dies, we have that type. We have who killed it. Next up, let's spawn in our custom creature. Custom creature. And we'll call it pet. Equals a new custom creature. We need to pass in our type. We need to pass in our location, event.getEntity. Get location. And then just like that, our custom pet is created. Now that we have it created, all we have to do is say pet.set owner to player, and then pet.set name. And the name, as long as the name has the owner's name in it, this will work perfectly fine. Owner.get name. So if you haven't seen the Pathfinder Goal video, our Pathfinder Goal works on this target thing, but it also does a check for the player's name. So if you are wanting to change the name, say you want to change the ally, whatever, you have to make sure it says owner.getName in somewhere in the name, because that's how our Pathfinder Goal works. If you want to go ahead and change that, go ahead and code your own Pathfinder Goal for it, and then make sure it doesn't check the name. But this is how my code works, so I'm making sure that owner.getName is in the name. All right, once we set the name, all we have to do is add that entity to the world. So world server, we've done this before, world server world equals the cast of the craft world to our events, or our, we can say owner.getWorld. And then outside of all those parentheses, .get handle, import all that, world.add entity, pet, and boom. If you go ahead and run this on your server, whenever you kill entity, our entity will spawn there with our name. Last but not least, let's create code one last event. This will take just a minute, and this is our deleting event. So on entity delete player interact entity event, and we coded this one before. If you have already coded this, you can go ahead and just copy it, I guess. But get right click entity.get custom name. So we're saying if it doesn't have a custom name, if a custom name equals null, let's return. That just means that, you know, they right clicked on some other mob. That's not ours. So that's a really important check. Next, event.get right click .get custom name. If our custom name contains our event.get player .get name, so if the name of our entity contains the name of our player, that means that, you know, it's their pet. So we want to say event.get right clicked .remove. All right. My plugin I showed you earlier does have a little particle effects in there. So if you want to go ahead and add in a particle effect there and a particle effect here, you can go ahead and do that. But before we run this on the server, let's go into our main class and say this .get server .get plugin manager .register events. The listener is the new pet event, and then the arg1 will be this. All right, and our code is done. Woo! Nice and easy. All we really did was create a custom creature class that extends the entity creature. So we don't care what type of mob it is, but it'll do what we want it to do. And last but not least, go into your plugin.yml and make sure you have the API version of 1.16. That's really important. And I'll bring it back. I'm gonna run it on the server, see how it works. All right, now on the server, if we go ahead and spawn a mob and we kill it, it becomes our ally. Awesome. Now, if you are in creative mode, you will be able to do damage to your mob. However, if you know, normal players will be not in creative mode and they won't be able to do damage. If you haven't seen this Pathfinder goal before, it does work. If you fly without 25 blocks, it will teleport to you. Just for people who haven't seen this Pathfinder goal before. Also, if you fly, it will come to you, I think. Yeah, there we go. And it won't die of fall damage, which is nice. Alright, just one more thing I gotta tell you guys before I go ahead and end the video. My plugins, as these tutorials, are not 100% perfect. If you want to create a pet plugin that does stuff like this, you will have to do more work than a 22-minute coding session. As you can see, like, this video was coded in 20-something minutes. You won't be able to create a perfect plugin in 20 minutes. So there's a lot of stuff that will go wrong in this plugin, such as this sheep is gray, but when I kill him, he turns white. Or if it's a baby, it will turn into an adult. That is some things that you guys can fix and go ahead and code on your own. Obviously, I can't code everything for you guys as much as I would love to code everything for y'all, but I will code, the gist of the plugin. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy this episode. Please like, subscribe, and comment below what you're gonna see next. I think we'll do custom textures in the next video. It'll be pretty awesome. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching.